Hello, my name is Helen Cloney. This is my studio here. It's called Beyond the Pale at 922 Queen Street East here in our fabulous city of Toronto. I've been doing this for about 33 years, 13 years in this location. I do my work here. I sell some of my work here and elsewhere. I have a drop-in for kids on Saturday and one for adults on Sunday where they get to make pottery too and play around. It's called Beyond the Pale because I read a book once called Beyond the Pale, and the phrase beyond the pale means a pale is like a fence they had in Arthur's times, and the pale would surround a community of people. So when you were inside the pale, you had the protection of the leaders of that community and you were safe there. But if you dared to venture beyond the pale, you were sort of on your own, so you weren't so safe. Things might be a little more difficult for you. The other reason I like to use the phrase beyond the pale is because my work is very colorful. Color is very important to me, so I'm probably a painter as much as I am what is called a hand builder. A hand builder works with clay using hand techniques as opposed to a wheel or other sort of machinery. So there are different ways of doing that. There are different methods of using clay. I could teach you that, but we won't get into that at this point, otherwise we'll be here forever. So I'll be doing this forever. It's been a long time and it's going to be a long time. So that's about, I guess, the basic gist of what goes on here. People come and go, they drop in. It's become sort of a community center for people too, so we kind of exchange things here, anything from food, clothing, whatever. People come and go. I've become part of the community. This is the first time in my life I've really felt part of a larger community. So I'm giving more than I ever have, but I'm also getting more than I ever have because of that. So it's a come and go sort of situation. It's a sharing. I have the privilege of being able to share my craft with other people and sort of help them along the way with what they're doing too, and allow them to step out of their usual lives for a few hours a week anyways, and just to get in touch with their creative side a little bit. Started out at George Brown Night School, basically to get out of the house one night a week, and to probably, I was working as a cook, and that was an okay job, but I was like 30 years old. I thought, there's got to be more, So I started at night school, and I went to Sheridan for 3 years, and got out of there in 1981, and I've been doing this ever since, with the occasional side job to support myself.
Okay, what hooked you in on the clay? Something that, just absorbed you into it in a way, because it seemed like as soon as you were hooked or grabbed that interest, there's been no looking back,
I think probably because I had worked as a cook for about 12 years, and many of the processes and many of the feel of it and just the material itself.
Yeah,
I just like the feel of the material and the kind of getting your hands in and messiness of it.
Right.
The fact that it was, it's an affordable material too.
Yeah.
Like it's accessible to just about everybody. Well it is. If you want to go dig your own, it's totally accessible. It's free. So, but from such a humble material, you can create anything that your mind can imagine with some technical experience. And the more technical experience you have, the more you can just kind of fly once you know what you're doing.
What do you do when somebody comes in and they have had no experience with clay? I mean, how do you approach them usually about how to get them motivated, or I guess even get that intimidating factor that people seem to have when they are doing something new?
Well, usually that's not a problem with kids, but adults it can be a problem. They're so divorced from their creative self that they're petrified.
Yeah.
And so first of all, I congratulate them for even coming in the door, because I know it's an act of courage for some people to do that,
yeah.
I have scary areas in life that are outside of this, and I understand that feeling. I have no experience. I don't know. I made something in grade 1 and my mother still has it. And I said, well, that's, we'll start from where you are, which is with little or no experience. So I give them a demonstration. Once they actually get their hands on the material, And I think the material's seductive in itself.
I agree.
It draws people in. I mean, it is the earth, you know. It's a perfectly natural material. It doesn't bite back. It can't hurt you in any way. And people will start up. But often I find with adults, they're pretty locked into believing that they have no creative ability.
And then
I say that's fine, just mess around. If you don't like what you're making, you can always start again. Put it back into a bowl and away you go again. There's no, there's no pressure. You're here to have a good time, and I want you to be happy when you leave here and be happy with what you do. And so far that's been the case, without exception, which I think is kind of amazing to me.
So basically, the process is as important or more important than the finished product.
Absolutely. I'm all about the process.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you can keep that, and that's something that, a life of being creative with one material, which is pretty well what I do. I pretty well work only with clay. You have to keep it fresh for yourself too, and keep your mind open, and be willing to look around you and see beauty and observe. And I think, when people start becoming involved with creativity, they start looking at the world a little more. They notice. I mean, I think people are in way too much of a hurry to get that other car, to get that television, to get this, to get that, and then they're going to be happy. But, they're approaching it from the wrong end, I think.
Yeah.
They've lost what life is really about, and they've forgotten that human beings are creative people, and they need to be, and I think it's part of their spiritual and mental well-being to be pursuing something creative. That can mean making yourself a really, really nice meal. It can be as simple as that,
Yeah.
Making your home a place that's your sanctuary, where you can come in and feel safe from the rest of that horrible world that's been, kind of dragging you down all day.
Because we don't make time for that. I mean, like you were saying, things are always never enough time in the day to get what we need to get done. Never mind about yourself, in a way. I believe it's important to take that, or even to find something that makes you happy, something you can get excited about.
Yes.
Like this, to have fun, to...
Well, that's the exact reason
Yeah.
I became involved with this in the very first place. Once you're in touch with your creative side again, and you're expressing yourself that way through some kind of a material or some kind of an activity, you start to crave it, and it starts to become more and more a part of you that you become aware of. Initially, you aren't aware of that sort of thing. When you're a child, you do, because look at kids. Kids can make up we used to make up games using a clothespin and a piece of string.
That's
and it's
right. Yeah.
But you lose all that, and it's important to get back to that and to remember your true nature and your true self.
Everybody knows everybody along this block.
That's
You know,
right. We are a community here. It really is a thriving community. I know my neighbors, they know me, I care about them, they care about me. This is a
Do you
new
find you
experience for me.
Good support from the community as well?
I do get support. I get financial support. I get gifts. People bring me clothing. So we have clothing exchanges here sometimes. Things come and go. It's sort of a clearinghouse for things too sometimes, or information about creative things that are going on in the community or even outside the community. Encouragement of any kind. I meet painters that come in here, and we relate on that level, and I get criticism of my work on a regular basis, which I wouldn't have if I were working in a basement somewhere all by myself, which I have done too, and this is definitely a better experience for me to be here and to be looking out that window when I'm in the mood and just watching what's going on. I feel totally safe in this neighborhood. I know that when I'm not here, people are keeping an eye out for me. I can come home and find the whole sidewalk shoveled. Someone's done that for me. I might find a little gift at my back door. Something will come my way and I can pass it on to someone else. So I think that's what community's about, and I think we've lost that in a lot of neighborhoods. People want to go into their own little box and shut the door and they're afraid of their neighbors or don't trust them or think they're going to demand something from them that they don't want to provide, they don't want to be bothered. So this is, being a shy person, this has kind of pulled me out into that larger world too. So it's been very good for me.
Okay. What kind of impact do you think that you've had here in this community with people, like the impact?
You know, I haven't really thought about it a lot, but I know that when people do walk in here sometimes, it's almost like they stepped into a cathedral or something. They're kind of awed and they're looking. I'm here every day. I mean, this is my world, this is my little world, you know, but I maybe take it for granted sometimes, you know. Everything here is here for a purpose. It's all intentional. And I think when people walk in, they look around and, as you say, thank you for pointing out the idea of color and things too, because I'm used to that. But I need this to be who I am, and I need this to keep myself in the world in a positive way. But people will walk in and just sometimes be quite taken away, I guess I could say, and just, and that gives me a really good feeling to think, oh, well, I have affected people some way. I have made a difference. And people often will tell me, thank you so much for being here. We think this is really great, and they want to talk about the work, or maybe they'll just come in and talk about themselves. They seem to feel that this is a place where they can do that. They can let down their guard for a few minutes.
And relax.
I don't know exactly why that is, but
you don't see it though.
No, I don't. This is what I'm saying. I don't, because we don't, none of us see ourselves as other people do. Truly, we don't. I think other people can see me better than I see myself, and I think that's true of every human being.
I mean,
really do. Thank you for joining me here today in my studio, 922 Queen Street East. It's called Beyond the Pale. The nearest intersection is Logan. I'm right on Queen, 922 Queen Street East. My phone number is 416-878-6967. You can reach me anytime after 12. Thanks again.